Welcome to the Podawan podcast. I'm your host, Steve, alongside co-host Ollie, aka the Podawans. And today we got a ton of news we're going to talk about on the verge of Project Luminous and those details. But we're going to talk about tonight some Fallen Order news, some quotes, some Mandalorian, you name it. There's a bunch going on. Coming in hot. Welcome to another episode, Podawans. Today we got a bunch of news, so we're gonna kick it off. Ollie, how you doing today?
Good. Yeah, a lot happened the last week.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff dropping with Star Wars and everything, and
Yeah, we should say
yeah,
at the top, like you said in your intro, a bunch of the Project Luminous stuff is coming out as we speak. We just didn't want to jump in like half-assed to some of the stuff, so we're going to do a full review on whatever comes out about Luminous tonight in a few days and get that out instead of trying to, pounce on each thing that comes out. So
yeah. At this point, there's only been a couple things, but yeah,
yeah,
there's gonna
and
be a
we're on
bunch
the East
more
Coast
coming.
and they don't care about us. So
Yeah, apparently not. Yeah, thanks Disney. Fuck you. Oh, anyways,
all right, let's jump right
so
into it. What do we got?
all right. First off, we got some news that Jedi Fallen Order 2 is in development at Respawn.
Yeah, I just saw this today.
Yeah,
I think
big
it came
news.
out a few days ago, but yeah, I just saw it today.
Yeah.
Did you read any of it or?
Yeah, it didn't have much details on it. I've
Just
read
that
a
it's
couple.
happening.
It's just happening. There's um that's happening. Obviously, it's happening with Respawn again.
Yep.
Supposedly, there's two more So this will be one of the two Star Wars video games that they're signed up for
Okay.
with EA, obviously. Yeah, so we'll see where that goes. I mean, we don't have no release date, no details, nothing on that.
Did we even
Uh,
get details if it's a sequel or if they're gonna like do a thing where they follow someone else that escaped Order 66, or do we know it's a sequel?
Supposedly it's supposed to be like it says Jedi. It's supposed to be a sequel.
Okay. You know
But
what I mean though, because they could do like
yeah,
a bunch of different Survivor stuff. Yeah. Okay.
right.
Yeah, that'd be
So
cool. I mean, the end of Fallen Order spoilers. I don't know. Do you want? Are you still sensitive to spoilers on Fallen Order, Steve?
I saw a bunch of videos on the end and everything. I kind of had the gist of it.
Okay. So you're not. Yeah. So spoiler warnings for everybody else, but it does end in a place that you could do another game.
Oh, absolutely.
Certainly.
Yeah,
And, to
yeah,
argue that, Vader probably has to chase him down and get him eventually, because he most likely isn't. Again, we say this all the time, and they find ways to like hide these people, but he most likely is not around by the time Kanan's around because Kanan hasn't heard of him. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
this seems like honestly, it seems very similar to Rebels in a way. They've put together a crew of kind of misfits. You know what I mean? So
right.
they either have to completely disappear, like we talk about all the time, which they could do, or they have to die. I don't know. It's a big universe, but it does start to get tough when you start adding Kanan and Ezra to a rebel group, and then before that, maybe they make it to around the time of some of the rebellion, and then you got another Jedi, and it's like how none of these people have heard of each other, and nobody tells
Yeah,
Luke
it
about him.
doesn't.
So I feel like again, this is still early. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think there's only so much leeway, but we'll see. It was a good Star Wars game. It really was, and a great
Yeah,
Star Wars game from the bullshit that we've got in total. You know what I mean? Since Disney took over, truly just Battlefront, which has just been nothing story wise. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So like,
So
it was really good. So I'd love to continue the story. I think there's, you know what I mean? I think there's enough there for a game. And obviously they think so too.
yeah, I mean, that actually leads into my second article.
Yep.
There was actually dropping. Looks like it was this past weekend. EA canceled the Star Wars Battlefront spinoff last year. I wonder why. So just reading
Yeah, like
through
a
it.
Battlefront 3, or what is a spin-off of Battlefront?
So it was codenamed Viking. It
Okay.
was envisioned for release in the fall for 2020 for the
Okay.
next generation of consoles. Going down, there's actually not a lot on this. in terms of what it was supposed to do. It was supposed to have more open world elements.
Okay.
Um, I'm going to assume that it was gonna, um, let's see, like one of the quotes that says, as one person involved with the game said, too many cooks was a running theme. And they wanted to put a strong focus on story and characters. So what it sounds like is just that, well, I'm assuming that with the EA backlash and it sounds like they were trying to get too ambitious about this.
Yeah.
And with like the Battlefront 2 story, like that story I actually really liked.
It was good. It was just like an hour long.
Right.
When it was all said and done. No. I mean, it's weird phrasing, right? Because Battlefront is just a multiplayer game. There was a storyline to the Star Wars Battlefront, but the word Battlefront and Battlefield, these EA titles, are just these massive multiplayer like shooters, right? So it's weird to like when I hear Battlefront Spinoff, I wonder what it had to do with Battlefront at all. I guess one thing I was thinking as you were saying that, it would be cool. You read Twilight Company, right? Battlefront Twilight Company.
Oh yeah,
that would be a cool video game where like you're this
Yeah.
elite group that takes place in a bunch of these big battles, and you make like a storyline out of it and kind of make it open world where you have certain missions in these battles. So almost like in Endor, like you are part of a different thing that's distracting for Han to get into the, you know what I mean? Like almost like you play a different part in the battle that you haven't seen, but these battles that have already been a part of it, like that'd be pretty neat, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe, I mean, that kind of, I guess then you'd call it a Battlefront spinoff, but that's interesting. But it's gone now, right? So who knows?
Yeah, that's true.
Must have not been that good. Or it must have been great because EA canceled it, so.
I mean, they did come out with like they have.
If we ever get popular, we're never getting a fucking EA shout out. That's for sure.
No, not even close. I mean, we've shit on them so much. I mean, it's not that we don't.
No,
all right, we do
hate
them.
I played a lot of hours of EA games, so to be fair.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, all the like, yeah. There's so many games. It's just like it just seems like Star Wars and them just never. It just never worked out. So
yeah, well. It is what it is.
I mean,
they got Fallen Order, so hopefully 2 is good, and maybe this other one.
Then the old what they're saying, the Knights of the Old Republic remake. I mean, if that comes out under the EA brand and with everything going on, that might boost them up. I mean, if it's a good game, I mean,
if they come out with the next Knights of the Old Republic, meaning how popular that game was and how generational that game was, yes, this era of gaming that they totally fucked up will be forgotten, kind of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's a big if.
Yeah, it's not a.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see in the next couple of years what they spin around. I mean, you got the new consoles coming out, so.
Yeah.
All
right.
So moving along. So. There's so many stories. Jesus Christ.
Some of them are quick hitters, but.
So Harrison Ford.
This is a quick hitter.
Yeah, this is a very quick hitter. He made it pretty quick. So he was quoted recently about the Force Ghost in Rise of Skywalker. Spoiler: you have not seen it for some unknown reason. But it says he said a Force Ghost. I don't know what a Force Ghost is. Before going into a whisper so as not to disturb rabid Star Wars fans, in quotations. Don't tell anyone. I'm not talking loud enough for your reporter. I have no fucking idea what a Force Ghost is, and I don't care. Yikes.
I don't know why anyone's surprised by this.
I know.
Has anybody seen Harrison Ford speak in the last 40 years? This is exactly what I would think he would say.
Yeah,
I just give a shit. And he wasn't a Force Ghost.
No.
He was a memory, you dipshits.
Is that confirmed?
Yes, he can't be a Force Ghost.
Is that confirmed?
I confirmed it.
All right.
I have the authority to confirm that he was not a Force Ghost. Because if he was a Force Ghost, Disney's canceled.
I mean,
and you know how forgiving I am, but that's
I know that's
unforgivable.
Stupid. Okay? That wouldn't even. He
didn't have the glow either. He's not a Force Ghost.
He would make fun of the Force all the time.
I know, but I don't know why I don't even know why this is like a headline. This is so not shocking. Like this is exactly what he would say. Was anybody really like, oh my god? Like he doesn't care. And why? I feel like he doesn't even watch these movies.
Yeah,
Which is fine.
just
He played Han awesome, and he gave us an awesome character. So who gives a shit if he knows what Force Ghosts are?
yeah, exactly.
There's
Like whatever.
plenty of actors who do a great job and bring a character to life and don't have any fucking clue what's going on in the lore, and that's completely fine. You know what I mean?
Like how many of the actors do you think and actresses do you think really know what's going on in Marvel?
Yeah, no,
Like
that's my point. You know
realistically,
what I mean?
like
Maybe I would hope that nowadays, because it's so big, that they would do that. Most people who get cast as like a superhero or something
yeah,
do a little bit of reading, some comics, some whatever, even if it's just general background that like their agent puts together for them. I
right,
would hope that they have some general background of the character they're playing. But in terms of like, especially with Marvel, with all the different like timelines and stuff like that, and universe, what do they call it? Universes? I don't even know how they phrase it anymore. But with
yeah,
all
yeah.
that, like, I don't expect them to know. Like, do you? And does it matter if they
No,
do a good job? Who cares? Would you
I mean,
rather have a really good character in the movies
yeah,
that does an awesome job with an actor who doesn't give a shit and like doesn't care and doesn't know anything about it, but does an awesome job in the movies that count, or a guy who does a terrible job in the movies and is the biggest fan ever? I'd rather have the guy that does a good job in the movies because I'm the
yeah,
fan. I don't give a shit if he's a fan. You know what I'm saying? Like, just do good
yeah.
in the movie. So, and Harrison Ford cares. Don't get me wrong, but like, this is not surprising.
I think it's more if for me, it's just as long as they get the care. So if they're representing a comic book superhero, as long as they get the persona correct,
Yeah,
then
if
I
they
don't
do a
care.
good job
Like,
with their character and kill it, right, and just
yeah,
do a great job, but then they literally don't know who the character's sidekick was later because it wasn't in the movie or something. Do you really care?
yeah,
Like,
no,
like
no,
who cares? Anyways, I mean, yeah,
yeah.
it's
I
always,
mean,
let me say, it's always a bonus if someone's super into it too. You know what I mean? Mark Hamill seems to be super into it, which is cool. You know what I mean? But it's not necessary.
I literally just got a question.
Okay.
I don't think they even knew that. No, I don't think they even knew we were recording right now. But they asked, "Why are they? Why are they keeping Project Luminous on the down low?"
Well, it's coming out now, so
Well, I just
probably,
texted back, and I was
yeah.
like,
I mean,
releasing
the
everything
whole,
tonight.
yeah. Well, because I mean, they're a marketing machine, right? So like
Right.
they had all the marketing, good or bad, even if you hate it, it doesn't matter. But they had all the popularity from the last movie and publicity from the last movie, so they let
Mm-hmm.
that chill for a little while. They got Clone
Yep.
Wars coming out. They really don't need to release this right now. But
Oh,
I think they're now kind of taking advantage of, once kind of the Rise of Skywalker and the sequel trilogy is kind of fading off now. Now they're gonna say, hey, here's what's next. You know what I mean? So
right.
it makes sense. I'm actually surprised it's this early. I'm pumped, but I would have thought it would be more in like May and towards when's the celebration? April, May, something like that. But more towards that. But I think that's when we'll get some more bigger stuff too. But I think it's cool that this is coming out now. All right, Steve.
Yep.
All right, I lost you there for a second.
Oh,
All right,
I said you.
go ahead.
Oh,
What'd you say?
I said, are you talking about May 4th, or are you talking about the actual celebration in
The
Chicago?
celebration,
That's July.
July. Okay,
Yeah. So it would probably be like May 4th if that's what.
some stuff. The
That's what,
celebration's usually where a lot comes out, but we'll see.
yeah.
All right, Harrison Ford, check. Doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Got it. No news. No new news there.
No new news. All right. Next up, Cassian Andor, the series, is reworking the scripts before beginning production, which is getting a lot of eyebrows because of what's going on with the Kenobi stuff.
I think people are
Basic,
looking too much into this.
yeah. Basically, it was set to start beginning film production in June, but then the start date has been removed from the calendar, and a new one is yet to be set. Only thing that's kind of contradicting this, I guess, a little bit, is that Diego Luna says that the filming would start this year, which we mentioned on the last podcast. That's pretty much all the details. I don't know why this is such a big issue, but it
I think
seems
it's
to
just
be
because of all the
building
different
up.
stuff that's happened. But honestly, I wouldn't worry about it until there's like big news, because they have a show that's linked to something that they did really well for them, and
Yep.
they have the main actor, and they've announced it. Like a lot of the stuff like we talk about, it's confusing about what's been announced and what's leaks because we read all this stuff. This has been announced, and they said Diego Luna's in. So like, let's relax. You know what I mean? Is anyone really like? No, if I'm as big a Star Wars fans as they get, right? Is anyone really in a rush for this to come out? Like
I don't know.
I like.
I don't know.
I'm in. I'll be pumped when it comes out, but I'm not like, oh my god, it's gonna be 1 month later. Like there's a lot. I'm more interested in Luminous. You know what I mean? When this comes out, I'll be pumped, but I'm not concerned about this or Kenobi right now. It's gonna happen. Just let it happen.
I think it's just the community and just how they've been reacting to everything as of late, with like Rise of Skywalker, Last Jedi, like all that crap, and then
they're still relatively
Kenobi
new to this TV thing. Right?
Yeah, it's
they've only done one
season of Mandalorian, and that's it. Like you can't. I think they're setting expectations way too high. I think it's just it is just kind of like, oh, they're pushing back Kenobi. Oh, now they're pushing back Cassian Andor. What's next? Like maybe that's what they're kind of fearful about.
I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah, I mean, to be completely honest, the series, like you were saying, like I'm not super like I need to see this. Like this character I need to see.
Right. But even that, like usually the stuff that gets canned doesn't have like a main actor yet. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
It may change, but I don't think it's going. I highly doubt this is getting canceled.
And I doubt that Diego Luna would speak publicly.
Right. He's under no obligation to do that shit. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, typically you would be told not to say anything like that if something was going wrong.
No, I'm not too worried about this. Let's see what's happening in June. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So Cassian Andor still happening. Stop worrying. Get over it. Anyways,
I like how we're saying this. We had absolutely fucking nothing.
No, we don't know anything. It might be canceled. Like maybe the reveal tonight. Oh,
the guy's probably like the producer's best friend, and the producer's like, "Oh, it's fucked. We're not doing it." And we're here going like, "Yeah, it's completely fine.
It's fine." So the next piece. Now this one is related to the other TV series, Mandalorian.
Yeah, I like this.
Oh God, what's his face?
Giancarlo
Esposito has hinted that Mandalorian season 2 will feature more lightsaber action later this year. And what he said was that his character will be in a bit of a struggle with someone else in season 2, which I'm hoping you enjoy. He added there will be major, epic. It sounds like Trump right there. Major, epic lightsaber action happening on this show.
Cool.
And that's pretty much it.
I mean, they definitely set it up for the Darksaber to be the staple of the second season, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
He also says that the child has some incredible power without having to wield the Darksaber. You'll be enthused and inspired when you see the scene I'm referring to in season 2, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, I mean, I think me and you are in agreement. I think we talked about this in the past that if there's going to be a season 3, which now it pretty much seems like it, that the Baby Yoda's home world isn't going to be the main focus of 2. They're going to hold off on that because so I think the Darksaber and its meaning to Mandalore is going to be the main plot thread. You know what I mean? The main sticking point for season 2.
Right.
It makes me interested that he's saying there's all this stuff and this epic stuff. It makes me interested in what I was mentioning as like a kind of a throw it out there kind of thing, that maybe he is involved with the original people that go to Exegol. You know how there's like the First Order, which was with Snoke and the remnants of the Empire, but we know from Rise of Skywalker that Exegol was a thing that was happening as well. They just only certain people knew about it, like General Pride. And we don't exactly know when they knew about it, but it seems to be set up because I think some of the officers I'll have to double check this, but in the visual dictionary, some of the officers in the Final Order are like 20 something, I believe, like 23, 24. I'll double check this for clarity, but some of the officers in the Final Order ships are like in their 20s and their home world is Exegol. So
Right.
I feel like Exegol and this whole thing was going on at the same time that the First Order was building up. They were just, again, supposed to come after the First Order. So it's not as if like the First Order actually was built first. You know what I mean? The First Order was just the first one to come out and start the war. Is kind of how I'm vibing with this. So if that's the fact, if that is indeed what's happening, then there are some in the First Order or some outside of the First Order, but there's some people that know what's going on Exegol. And it'd be really interesting if some of these epic things that we hear about that Giancarlo Esposito's talking about is Moff Gideon is one of those insiders, and maybe he travels to Exegol and has to deal with the whole the Sith conglomerate that's going on there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe.
That'd be pretty neat, pretty dark.
Yeah, it would. I mean, Mandalorian has had some dark moments. So I mean, it wouldn't.
And I think it would make a lot of sense that when he says like I want the like that would make sense why he's going after the Baby Yoda.
Yep.
For all the tests for Snoke and all the cloning and the shit that Palpatine's trying to do. Maybe it all ties back related. In, right?
Yeah, and then you can see how many people on Reddit get pissed off.
And or maybe it has to do with maybe there's like an Ahsoka, Sabine, Ezra thread that then gets picked up in Filoni's new series. You know what I mean? Because he says you never know.
Yeah, I mean that time period is there's a blank slate. Explore. Yeah,
it's a blank slate. Other than we know what eventually happens, but there's a lot that could go on in there. I mean, Luke's with, well, not Ben yet. It's 5 years, so probably not. But Luke is traveling around, so maybe he runs into him. You never know. I don't know that they'll do that yet, but he's around, and this guy has a lightsaber, and he's a bad guy. You know what I mean? So who knows?
Yep. Yeah, it's
all good stuff. Yeah,
all good stuff. Yeah. So moving on, still got a couple more pieces, and then
that segues us into the Exegol thing. You had something on that, right?
Oh yeah. So
what do we got?
Some more big news. I Instagrammed this this past weekend. So a new Star Wars movie or feature on Disney Plus. It's not confirmed whether it's going to be a show or a movie. Is set on the Sith planet of Exegol. It's going to be directed by JD. So all this is. I mean, I don't think it's all confirmed. It came out over the weekend. Deadline dropped it, or the Hollywood dropped it. Then Deadline had some detail. I don't think it's obviously it's not 100%.
Yeah.
Like no one's come out and said like, yeah, that's true. So what they're saying is JD Dillard, who is best known for the film Slight, which I didn't see that movie. I actually don't even know who he is.
Yeah.
Going to be the director, and the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. writer and Luke Cage writer Matt Owens will be the writer for this either show. It sounds like it's leaning movie. Also, all the other details that they have is that it's going to take place in the Sith Exegol, supposedly.
Yeah.
And there's no link between this project, all the supposedly an announced trilogy from Star Wars.
So when I read this real quick, we don't know the timeline of this either. Like, do we think this is Exegol way back in the day when it became like a Sith world, or is this like around the time and getting into the Palpatine stuff?
It doesn't
really break that down.
It doesn't really nothing.
Okay.
It literally just says Exegol. That's it. There says plot, character, and setting details are unknown, are being kept on Exegol.
I wonder if it's part of Luminous. Do we know?
It doesn't specify that.
Or around that time period. Because now I'm getting a little confused with the Luminous stuff. Because then I read it was like in the official thing that I thought I read. It didn't really say anything about movies or TV shows. It was just books. So it almost sounds to me now like maybe Project Luminous isn't necessarily the whole High Republic timeline. Project Luminous is just this set of stuff that's coming out that may launch the High Republic.
Yeah.
So, which is cool too. Like, I'm fine with that. I just thought Project Luminous was like the whole thing, and it sounds like maybe it's just the beginning of the time period.
Yeah.
Which is cool. I mean, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, so they changed the time from 9 p.m. Eastern to 10 p.m. Eastern. When they did that, I know they're on the West Coast, but I kind of assumed, like I was saying earlier, that I kind of figured it wasn't going to be as big of a deal in terms
It's
of
yeah, it's an interesting thing though
dropping
because I was
stuff.
reading a little bit and it's like they're like the official Star Wars, like everyone's saying like go to starwars.com for stuff. Like
Yeah,
the authors and stuff because they said there'd be no live thing, but I guess whatever they're doing is at a place because there's YouTubers there.
yeah,
So it'll be
yeah.
interesting to
I
see
don't
like
know.
what if it's this release, then there's no video, but you brought YouTubers. So what are they gonna put up? Just they're just gonna talk about, which I guess you could do, but I don't know why they need to be there if they're just gonna talk about it. If there's no footage, you know what I mean? Like in other
Yeah,
words, it
it
seems
doesn't
like
make
they're all
sense.
at this event, quote unquote. Yet
Yeah,
there's no live stream or no video. They're just gonna kind of do it behind closed doors. Then why announce? I don't know. We'll see. It could be like everything. It could be completely wrong and like stuff's going on. But I thought it was
yeah,
gonna be like you were saying. Like it seemed like there was gonna be this like I don't know like 30-minute live stream or something. You know what I mean? Where they'd kind of
yeah.
go into it.
That's what
But
I thought it was
but
going to be
now
too.
it seems like it's kind of closed doors. But like maybe there is this thing and then all the YouTubers get like first dibs at it and it went on, but they don't show the public. But like they immediately release the detail. I don't know. We'll find out. We'll talk about it on the next one.
Yeah, I
Let's
don't.
not get too in the weeds on it because we just have no idea. And then we'll
Yeah,
discuss whatever goes on tonight.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't make sense. Yeah, it could be anything at this point.
yeah,
It's very interesting that this leak would come out the weekend before Project Luminous comes out.
yeah.
So,
It's just super.
um,
It's getting super confusing. Again, I've said it multiple times, but like I'm getting super confused at what's official and what's leaked because like
it's
it's
like this
it's
week
so
was just like a shit
well because
show. I
like
mean,
what if it's official that the author Cavan Scott is like right, is that his name?
yeah,
He was like on Twitter and he was saying something about it, so like that's official, right? Because he's part of Project Luminous. But then like Star Wars didn't tweet it. I don't. It's very odd to me. I don't know what's official anymore.
yeah. It's very.
You know what I'm saying? Because there's
Yeah,
leaks,
it's not.
and then there's people involved in it that we know are involved in it that also say stuff. But then Star Wars like is quiet on it, and you're like, wait a minute, the guy who's writing the book just said this. Shouldn't you like go like, yeah? It
Yeah, it
seems
doesn't
like
make
that's
sense.
logical, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm looking forward to to seeing what comes out tonight and doing a show on it. Reviewing it once we have some more details because there's
oh
going to be
yeah,
a lot.
absolutely.
Obviously, we already saw, sneak peek. We already saw the cover of that one of the books released, and that looks really cool. So,
Yeah.
all right. So you want to finish
Um,
up with Clone Wars, or did you have any? Did we hit everything on the
I
list?
had one more. Actually, it is related to Clone Wars. So,
Oh, Ahsoka.
um, yeah,
All
Ahsoka.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
So basically over the weekend, so since Rise of Skywalker, and I'm just gonna ruin it because at this point, spoilers. But there's the voices at the end of Rise of Skywalker. With all the different Jedi.
Right. Right.
Ahsoka being one of them, and so everyone and Ezra too. So everyone assumes that Ahsoka and Ezra are dead.
Yeah. This is one of our
Well,
questions last week that we talked about for a little bit. Yep.
yeah. So this past week, apparently, um, Filoni, the creator of Ahsoka and Clone Wars and Rebels and everything, he was asked about that, and he mentioned, I have to wonder with Star Wars fans. They seem to watch the movies, but they don't take all the lessons. They deal a lot in absolutes, which is very much a Sith thing. I remember in The Empire Strikes Back, Luke speaking out through the Force to Leia. Vader also does this at the end of Empire Strikes Back. There's no absoluteness that these people are dead. I mean, some of them we know are dead. Boom, boom. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean that
I mean, I'm
it's
fine.
not.
Look, I'm fine.
It's a
Like we
lot.
said, I'm fine with but come on, honestly, and I'm all for if he has some epic thing for Ahsoka and Ezra. I'm at the point now where like little things like this aren't gonna bother me. Like
Right.
if the end result is a better story for Ahsoka and Ezra, and I like we've talked about, I'm more on Filoni's side than anyone. You know what I mean? Like I think what he does is like pure Star Wars. If you want to get into, you know what I mean, like levels of canon, if you will. But
Yeah.
But so if it leads to that, fine. But in a vacuum, having all those voices at the same time back Rey, and all the ones that we have confirmed knowledge of where they are in that moment are dead, right? Because I guess we don't have confirmation that Ezra and Ahsoka are alive, but we don't have confirmation that they're dead either. But we know Luke's dead. We know Adi Gallia's dead. We know Luminara is dead. We know who else? Qui-Gon, Yoda, like all the other ones we know are dead. Then, I mean, yeah, we're dealing in absolutes. But logically speaking, you throw Ezra and Ahsoka in there, and it the reason follows that they're dead, right?
Right.
Like what? So what happens there? You're telling me is all these dead Force ghosts at the same time say they got Rey's back, and yet Ahsoka and Ezra are somewhere in the universe and know exactly that this time is exactly the right time to like reach out through the Force and talk to Rey and say, "Yeah, we got your back." Like, how would that? You got to explain this whole thing. Like, if they're not there, I mean, again, like I said, I'll deal with the slight variances and stuff like this if it leads to a better story down the line. That's fine. I trust in Filoni, but let's not get carried away that like somehow we're ridiculous for saying that Ahsoka and Ezra are dead because they speak with a bunch of dead people at the exact same time in the exact same way 30 years after we saw them last. So yeah. How do you feel about it? Sorry, I went off on that. Like, you have like a similar thought to that?
Really
like, I mean,
it took it kind of personal.
No, I just like, I love Filoni, so I'm behind that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I get it. But I just think that's, like we talked about, I think they throw it in.
I think he's just responding in
just having fun
in character. Yeah, like it's Star Wars. I mean, he obviously knows how the Star Wars community is, how toxic it can be. So like anything that you say is taken with, oh my God, he actually said Ahsoka's alive. Holy shit! Right. Like, no, I think he's just speaking in character and turn, and it's just not. I mean, Ahsoka would be really old at that point. I mean,
yeah, we don't know how Togrutta's age though.
Yeah, but it's just the likelihood of that. Same with Ezra. It's kind of
like a little older than Luke.
Yeah, it's just not. I don't know. I have a hard time believing that they would actually be alive. Plus, they would have to explain.
We know what happened, dude.
Yeah.
JJ was like, I need a bunch of Force ghosts. Who are the most popular ones? They're like, oh, get Ahsoka and Ezra in there. They're coming out in other stuff. Like, that's really popular. Okay, I'll do it. And then Filoni finds out when the movie comes out and goes, oh, okay, I guess they're dead. And then goes, well, maybe they're not dead. Like, that's what happened, right?
Yeah.
They didn't check with Filoni. Like, this is all. Like, that's the movie business Disney side. And then, like, the real driving canon side with Filoni. And you know what I'm saying? So, it is what it is.
And this
they threw them in there because they're popular, right?
This just tells that Disney and just how they're right. Like this proves my point. This proves my point. They need cohesive writing on all their shit. Like this just proves my point.
I truly think
that they're stupid.
I truly think it's gonna work out better in the different time period because I think they took on a little bit more than anyone could chew, really. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It was George's saga. You're trying to come up with something new that fits 6 other movies. You know what I mean?
Right.
That someone else wrote. You didn't take his opinions into it. So, and then you didn't plan out the 3 movies. You just did them one at a time. So, I think it came, I had fun with them, but were they like some masterpiece that really connected great and showed a bunch of cohesiveness and created this whole new canon? Not really. But now that they have got that out of their system and now they can go to a time that no one else has touched, you know what I mean? I think we'll see a little bit. I think they'll take the complaints, but also now they don't have to deal with the other 6 movies. So there's a little bit, it's just easier, right? Because I think people panicked about stuff. I think they got it and then they were doing this. Because if they had started with like the Old Republic or something, or even just a different time period no one's touched, there'd be a lot of pressure. There's always going to be pressure, but it wouldn't be as much because you're not touching George's thing exactly, like his exact baby. You know what I mean?
Right.
And maybe they should have done that and then done the sequels later. But it is what it is.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, Clone Wars. Let's do
Clone.
it.
All right, so we're gonna dive into our Clone Wars segment. Clone Wars Episode 1 came out this past Friday.
Season 7, Episode 1.
Season 7, Episode 1 match. Just a quick thing. It's sponsored by Charlie Caps. Ollie, I don't know if you want to go into that or not.
Yeah, Charlie Caps is our company that we do state hats based on Rhode Island. They're fun. We're coming out with new designs all the time. You know, our first one's up. There's also Pennsylvania and Maine. I have one right here. It's dirty. I apologize, but there's a guy that takes a bunch of stuff from the state and combines it into a cool logo. Yeah. So, and we'll be doing more stuff. Hopefully, we'll get some Podawan hats too.
Yep.
Working on a couple things right now that I have to show you. And then, so check us out. CharlieCaps.com. CholliecAps.com.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
All right, so let's dive into the first episode. I don't even know when initial reaction when you started watching. Were you like super excited? Were you just like, I can't wait? Or were you just like, all right, cool, like, another episode, no big deal? Like, what'd you think right off the bat?
Yeah, it felt like home, right? Like, because I've been rewatching them. I didn't get fully through everything like I wanted to, but as much as I think there's some updated graphics, I guess is the best way to say it. It's slightly different, but it's very the same. You know what I mean? Like they didn't really change anything in terms of like the intro stayed the same. You know what I mean? We got the little quote at the beginning, so it felt good.
Yep.
It felt, I liked it. Again, like I've said 100 times, like Luminous is what my brain's onto. I'm super excited about that new stuff. So Clone Wars is like a lot of fun. I'm into it, but I wasn't chomping at that. I didn't watch it at 3:01 a.m. in the morning. You know what I mean?
Right.
But
it's not like
and also in a weird way, I know that it's starting out with some of the stuff that I'm less interested in. I like Bad Batch. I think this was cool. I had a lot of fun with it. But there's nothing, at least not yet in this episode, there's nothing that changed Star Wars canon, right? Or like really affected it. I think that's going to come later in the season. That's not to say that this, like in context, once this season's out and you get to watch all 7 seasons together, this is another great episode. It's fun. I think the Bad Batch thing's really fascinating.
Yeah.
Just a cool concept of like some, because realistically you think they would do that as they're cloning, you know what I mean? And as they try slightly different things. And I think it's a fun little group that they put together. You know what I mean? They all have like their special little abilities. And it's cool to see Rex and Cody together too. Because as much as like they're all over the place, they don't have a ton of missions together. I feel like, obviously Cody's usually with Obi-Wan and Rex is usually with Anakin. And yet as much as they're together, you usually get predominantly one or the other, you know what I mean? In an arc. So it's fun to see those two work together. Cody's kind of knocked out early, but it was cool. It was cool to see the Bad Batch and their powers and their differences while still being clones and kind of, group up under Rex. It was a good episode. It had a lot of action, but good story too. Just a good, succinct story. Like we talked about, they go in arcs. So it may be more appropriate once the Bad Batch arc, like 3 or 4 episodes, or maybe it's 1 or 2 now. I don't know how this 7th season is going to go, but this will tie into like at least 1 more episode, I think. And that'll kind of be the arc in and of itself. So what do you think?
Oh shoot, I just lost my spot.
Same thing first. Like, were you super excited about, like, where's your excitement level on this?
I was actually pretty excited.
Yeah.
I actually did not rewatch the episodes like a lot of people did. I kind of just went into it cold.
When did you finish Clone Wars though? That was a little bit more recent, right?
Yeah, back in like 2015, 2016.
So not that recent.
No,
more recent
not
than me. You're saying. I got you.
Yeah, I mean, I probably have to rewatch some of them because I'm still hazy on some of the stuff.
Yeah, I was rusty. I did it in like 2013.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. I mean, I watched I watched Clone Wars, and then I
Hmm.
watched some Rebels, then took a break, then watched more Rebels.
Yep.
And recently, I watched more Rebels recently than Clone Wars. The only, I think I watched a couple episodes of Clone Wars recently just because it was referred to in one of the books I was reading.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, I remember that episode, so I wanted to check it out.
Yeah, I did a
But
bunch with the Mandalorian for some of those
yeah,
videos. Yeah.
yeah. So it's so I was kind of excited just like in terms of hey, we're getting new Star Wars. I like Clone Wars. I
Hmm.
and the Bad Batch, I was very interested in what this was gonna be and like how these guys were gonna actually like what why are they the Bad Batch, that sort of thing.
Right.
So I loved the characters. I actually really liked this episode. Like it was awesome. I thought it was a fun episode. There was, yeah, the story was kind of like, meh, like whatever. It's kind of just a fun, action-packed episode.
Yep.
I think the reveal at the end was kind of cool to, wrap up the arc. And I'm looking at the next episode name, and that kind of, it says distant echo is the new next episode. So
Okay.
clearly that's going to be related to this episode. Um, yeah, I thought the Bad Batch was awesome. I thought the characters were great. I liked how they interacted with each other. I liked the action with it, and like they were just fun to watch. They were like a mercenary group for hire. It's really cool. It's a little bit different from Clone Wars when you just get kind of the vanilla, like here's your squadron, like here's your clone troopers. Like it's not.
Right. They have different positions,
It's
but they're all the same.
right. It's not, yeah. So that's why I meant like vanilla. It's kind of like, all right, well, that's what they are.
Yeah.
This group was really cool to see. They have unique talents and abilities that are different from the other clone troopers, and it was just fun to watch that. I mean, it's different, and
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that, and I'm kind of glad that they went with that for Clone Wars. So one thing I did find a little bit interesting was the Anakin, um, the very beginning, Anakin's reaction to some of the stuff that was going on. And secondly, he was working with Mace Windu. I don't know if that's foreshadowing for later on, obviously, but it was a little bit interesting to see that to me. I kind of found it a little more intriguing. I don't remember where the last episode left off before this new season, so maybe I'm a little bit hazy on that. But
Yeah,
um,
that's an interesting question that I don't know the answer to, but I believe it's close to when Ahsoka leaves. So this is kind of the final darkening of Anakin, right? Before
right,
we get to Revenge of the Sith. That was a big moment. That's supposed to be a big moment in his
right,
storyline, um, when Ahsoka
right.
leaves. So so yeah, we should see a more serious Anakin, and I think that's what we got in the short glimpse we got.
More like an untrusting.
A more
Uh,
severe, I guess,
yeah,
is a better word, right?
you could tell by his responses he was just very cold, almost cold.
Yep.
Kind of just like, yeah, are you actually like, are you being honest right now? Like Jedi don't necessarily. I mean, you don't really get that kind of emotion, I guess. I don't know how to say it. You don't get that kind of exchange often, so it's very interesting to see that. So I kind of picked up on that right away, and I was like, oh, that's a little bit interesting,
Yeah.
a little bit different, but yeah, I thought it was a good first episode. I thought it kicked off well. It gave you action right off the bat and kind of established itself. So I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Um,
No, I agree.
yeah, I'm kind of curious to see where it goes, and then, you
Yeah. Well,
know,
they're gonna go find Echo or some
yeah.
version of Echo, whether he's still him or if he's like brainwashed or something. I did we. I think this is complete like blurry speculation of all the stuff I've read, and I should have been more prepared for it. But I believe we still need a reason for Rex to get away and not attack um
Order
Jedi,
66.
right? So maybe this is how they deal with
Wait,
it.
no, 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 no. Don't they? Doesn't he explain it in Rebels?
Did he?
I thought
That
he
he took
did.
it out, but does he explain why he took it out or when he took it out? Maybe because
Oh
he's not
God,
with
I'm
the
gonna have to
Jedi.
watch it again.
Maybe it's
Yeah,
because he's with Ahsoka and Ahsoka wasn't a Jedi. I don't know. I'm just so again, just go with me here for hazy speculation.
yeah.
Maybe this is the way that they could do how he finds out. Maybe Echo's taken over and like his chips messed with, and that's how they're getting him to do this stuff. Or they're messing with his chip to get him to give up stuff. Because Palpatine's on both sides. You know what I'm saying? So like maybe
Yeah.
he gave them Echo to start to beat back some of these like clone troopers and stuff like that, and then they find out, and maybe because Bad Batch, we don't know what happens to them, right? So maybe they don't have chips, or maybe they find out. I don't know. I could be completely wrong. You're right. Maybe he said it in he
I
specifically
don't.
explained it in Rebels, but we can double check this.
Yeah, that's
I was
bad.
I was
I
trying to double
should know
check.
that.
We'll get it at the next episode. I mean, it's going to be about Echo anyway, so we'll get into it. But I was trying to find the
Yeah.
episode. I think they said they thought he died on the Citadel. So I did get through one episode, and he didn't die in the first one. So I was trying. The Citadel is
No.
kind of like an arc. So I wanted to see when he quote unquote dies and how they made it seem like he dies, but obviously he's still alive. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's
or
not.
you
Maybe
think
just
he
part
is.
of him is. Yeah. True.
Yeah, it's
Could be that way.
very hazy. I don't remember. I
You
thought
are right
Rex
though. That's a good
did it.
call. He explains it in some way because he does talk about it. I just don't know what he says.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember the episode because he
Because
definitely
his whole
talks
group
about because
took it out somehow, right?
yeah, well
Wolf and
his whole group, but he like
Gregor.
recollects it. Yeah, he talks about it and
Yeah.
he's like ashamed of it, and I'm just trying to remember where in Rebels he did it. Oh
Could happen.
God,
Maybe
now
it
I'm gonna.
happens after. Maybe he sees what happens and was gonna do it, but he's not with a Jedi, right? Because I don't think
Yeah.
any Jedi are there. I think it's just Ahsoka as that's all going down. I think Anakin was supposed to
It
go
was
there,
just
but that's when the whole Mustafar thing. I think that's supposed to happen all at the same time.
yeah, but yeah, because no, he was with Ahsoka. Um,
Well, not at the end, because that's why Ahsoka
no,
fights Maul when they're trying to lure him into the trap.
right.
I think he is supposed to be there. I think him and Obi-Wan are eventually supposed to get there, but then Order 66 happens and the whole thing goes to shit.
Yep.
That's the whole Siege of
Yeah.
Mandalore. I mean, we're gonna get this, so
Yeah,
it'll be
I
cool
know.
to see how it plays out. We get to see it exactly instead of just in anecdotes from different like other things,
Yeah, no, it'll be great. So it's I don't even know how many episodes of that. So
There's
there's
only like 8 or 12. Not
12.
20. We were thinking like the average season was like 20, but I remember hearing the number and it's not 20. Maybe it's 12.
I think it's either 8 or 12.
It's
Let
not
me
a lot.
see.
It's not the full 20. I
12.
think it's 12. Yeah.
It's 12. Yeah, so it's 4 3-episode
Episode
arcs.
Okay.
So, yeah.
And do we know are we getting them in
Um,
order? Are we getting 3 Bad Batches and then 3 whatever and obviously Siege will be at the end? Or is it going to go like Bad Batch? Oh, well, I guess it does go in order because you just said Distant Echoes next, right?
The next 2 episodes are definitely Bad Batch.
Okay, so maybe it's just going
Yeah,
3,
the
3, 3,
names
3,
give it
which is
away.
cool. That's awesome.
Um,
So maybe we'll
let's
do
see.
that. We'll do these as part of our weekly episodes, and then we'll do a special episode for the arc. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So we'll do
Yeah,
this kind
I
of
mean-
review each podcast, and then in 3 weeks or 2 weeks, once the third one's out, we'll do an arc review on its own.
I'm looking at not to ruin anything, but episode 4 actually was already screened. Like it was shown 5 years ago, and actually it still has some more Bad Batch stuff in it.
Well, I
So-
mean, they could also play a role in the rest of the season. It's just that their arc, this one arc, is usually 3 episodes long,
Right.
which
yeah.
probably more refers to the Echo storyline than Bad
Yep.
Batch themselves.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see where the Bad Batch ends up, what they do, and
Yep.
but I mean, yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I like
It was a good start.
where
It was
it
definitely
was a good start. Yeah,
You got
I mean,
12
even
episodes. It's not going to be great. It's not going to solve everything in the first episode. So I think this is a good way to get back into it.
yeah, absolutely. So,
All right.
all right, I think that wraps it up. Ollie, you have any other comments?
No, that's it. Hopefully we can do another. We're going to try to set up a Twitch channel, right? So
Yep.
we can do these live, and hopefully we can get another one in this week. It'll depend on how big Project Luminous is, but hopefully we can do another quick one this week that maybe is only like 20 or 30 minutes, but it's just about Project Luminous.
Yep.
Obviously, we have our weekly podcast every week that we'll be doing a quick recap of that week's Clone Wars episode at the very least, and then
Yep.
like we just decided, I think we'll do an extra one every 3 weeks for the arc itself, and that's where we'll do more research. I'll have like the exact thing on Echo, and we'll have the exact thing on Rebels, like when Rex said the thing about the chip and everything like that. That's when we'll do our research and come a little bit more prepared. But yeah,
I mean,
that makes more
I know
sense.
because I mean, we mentioned last episode we would do episode for each podcast episode for. Yeah, it's kind of tough. It's just there's not a ton of.
They're quick, and some of the stuff isn't. I think, like I said, I think the best thing we'll do this each episode so that we get like a little bit of a review. But then we'll dive deeper into an episode on their own when each arc is out. So we'll do it every 3 weeks.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, and then like like you said, like check out our YouTube channel. We're gonna set up a Twitch channel too, so we're gonna do more live streaming when we're doing our episodes and for reveals and so that kind of sort. So but check out our YouTube channel and
help
any
us
other
get to
streaming
100 subs. We're on
services.
our way there. 70, 71, something like that. So
yeah, we're gaining. Yeah,
Yep.
we're getting a lot of momentum. So so check them out. Check out some of our features, and we still have some stuff in the pipeline that we've been discussing. And so besides that, every week as well, make sure you shoot us your questions. This week we didn't go over any. I got a couple last minute, but with so much news this week, it was there was a lot going on. So, but make sure every week shoot your questions, your topics, what you want us to talk about, and we'll feature you on our next podcast. So, other than that, see you later, Podawans.
Later.